Hi guys, I'm back. Today is the 30th of July 2021. Today I'm going to read Judges 20 to 21, Ruth 1 to 4, Proverbs 30, and Psalm 63. Let's get started. Then all the Israelites came out. They came from the whole land between Dan and Beersheba. They also came from the land of Gilead. All of them gathered together in front of the Lord at Mizpah. The leaders of all the places among the people. They took their places among the people of God gathered together. They were 400,000 men carrying swords. The tribe of Benjamin heard that the Israelites had gone up to Mizpah. The Israelites said, "Tell us how this awful thing happened." So the Levite spoke. He was the husband of the woman who had been murdered. He said, "I and my concubine went to Gibeah in Benjamin. They spent the night there. During the night, the men of Gibeah came after me. They surrounded the house. They were planning to kill me. They raped my concubine, and she died. I took my concubine and cut her into pieces. I sent one piece to each part of Israel's territory. I did it because the men of Gibeah had done a very terrible thing in Israel. All you men of Israel, speak up now. Tell him what you have decided to do." All the men got up together. They said, "None of us will go home. Not one of us will return to his house. Here's what we will do to Gibeah. We'll cast lots to tell us how to attack the city. We will take 10 men out of every 100 from all the tribes of Israel. We'll take 100 from every 1,000. We'll take 1,000 from every 10,000. The men will get supplies for the army. Then the army will go to Gibeah and Benjamin. They will give Gibeah exactly what they should get because of the terrible thing they did in Israel." So all the men of Israel came together to fight against the city. The tribes of Israel sent people to carry a message to the whole tribe of Benjamin. They said, "What about this awful crime that was committed among you? Hand over to us those evil men of Gibeah. We'll put them to death. In that way, we'll get rid of those evil people." But the people of Benjamin wouldn't listen to the other Israelites. They came together at Gibeah from their hands. They came to fight against the other Israelites. Right away, the people of Benjamin gathered together 26,000 men from their towns. They were carrying swords. These men were added to the 700 who came, all young men from Gibeah. Among all these men there were 700 who were left-handed. Each of them could sling a stone out of hand and not miss. Israel gathered 400,000 men together. They were carrying swords. All of them were trained for battle. That number didn't include the tribe of Benjamin. The Israelites went up to battle. Then they asked God, "Who should go up first and fight against the people of Benjamin?" The Lord answered, "The tribe of Judah will go first." The next morning the Israelites got up. They set up camp near Gibeah. The Israelites went out to fight against the men of Benjamin. They took up their battle positions against them at Gibeah. The men of Benjamin came out at Gibeah. They killed 22,000 Israelites on the field of battle that day. Now the Israelites cheered one another on. They again took up their positions in the places where they had been the first day. The Israelites wept in front of the Lord until evening. They asked the Lord, "Should we go up again to fight against the men of Benjamin? They are our fellow Israelites." The Lord answered, "Go up and fight against them." The Israelites came near the men of Benjamin on the second day. The men of Benjamin came out from Gibeah to oppose them. That time they killed 18,000 more Israelites. All the men who died had been carrying swords. Then all the Israelites, the whole army, went up to Bethel. They sat there and wept in front of the Lord. They didn't eat anything that day until evening. Then they brought burnt offerings and friendship offerings to the Lord. Again the Israelites prayed to the Lord. In those days the Ark of the Covenant of God was there. Phinehas was serving as priest at the Ark. He was the son of Eleazar. Eleazar was the son of Aaron. The Israelites asked, "Should we go up again to fight against the men of Benjamin? They are our fellow Israelites." The Lord answered, "Go. Tomorrow I'll hand them over to you." Then Israel hid some men and had them wait all around Gibeah. They went up to fight against the men of Benjamin on the third day. They took up their positions against Gibeah, just as they had done before. The men of Benjamin came out to fight against them. They were drawn away from the city. They began to wound and kill the Israelites, just as they had done before. About 30 men fell in battle. They fell on the open fields and on the road. One of the roads led to Bethel, the other led to Gibeah. The men of Benjamin said, "We are winning the battle over them, just as we did before." But the men of Israel said, "Let's go back. Let's draw them away from the city to the road." So all the men of Israel moved away from their places. They took up new battle positions at Baal Tamar. The men who had been hiding charged them. They came from west of Gibeah. Then 10,000 of Israel's capable young men attacked Gibeon. The men of Benjamin didn't realize they were about to be destroyed. The fighting was very heavy. So the Lord helped Israel win the battle over Benjamin. On that day, the Israelites struck down 25,100 men of Benjamin. All the men who died had been carrying swords. Then the men of Benjamin saw that they had lost the battle. The men of Israel had moved away from their positions in front of Benjamin. They depended on the men they had hidden near Gibeon. Suddenly those men who had been hiding rushed into Gibeon. They spread out. Then they killed everyone in the city with their swords. The Israelites had made a plan with those who had been hiding. They had told them to send up a large cloud of smoke from the city. Then the Israelites would turn around and attack. The men of Benjamin had begun to wound and kill the men of Israel. They had struck down about 30 of them. They had said, "We're winning the battle over them, just as we did the first time." Then a large cloud of smoke began to go up from the city. The men of Benjamin turned around. They saw the whole city going up in smoke. Then the Israelites turned around and attacked them. The men of Benjamin were terrified. They realized they were going to be destroyed, so they ran away from the men of Israel. They ran toward the desert, but they couldn't escape the battle. Other Israelites came out of the tents. There they struck down the men of Benjamin. Here's how it happened. The Israelites had surrounded them. They had chased them and easily caught up with them east of Gibeon. So 18,000 men of Benjamin fell in battle. All of them were brave fighters. Some men of Benjamin turned back, and they ran toward the desert to the rock of Ruth. As they did, the Israelites struck down 5,000 of them along the roads. They kept chasing the men of Benjamin all the way to Gibeon. Along the way, they struck down 2,000 more. On that day, 25,000 men of Benjamin fell in battle. They had been carrying swords, but all of them were brave fighters. As 600 of them came back, they ran into the desert to the rock of Ruth. They stayed there for 4 months. The men of Israel went back to Benjamin. In all the towns, they killed the people with their swords. They even killed the animals. So they killed everything they found. They set on fire all the towns they came to. The men of Israel had made a promise at Mizpah. They said, "No one of us will give his daughter to be married to a man from Benjamin." The people went to Bethel. They sat there until evening in front of God. They wept loudly and bitterly. "Lord, you are the God of Israel," they cried. "Why has this happened to Israel? Why is one tribe missing from Israel today?" The next few days, the people built an altar. They brought burnt offerings and friendship offerings. Then the Israelites asked, "Has anyone failed to come here in front of the Lord? Is anyone missing from all the tribes of Israel?" The people had made a promise. They said that anyone who failed to come to Mizpah in front of the Lord must be put to death. The Israelites were very sad because of what had happened to the tribe of Benjamin. After all, they were their fellow Israelites. Today, one tribe has been cut off from Israel. They said, "How can we provide wives for the men who are left? We've made a promise in front of the Lord. We've promised not to give any of our daughters to be married to them." Then they asked, "Has any tribe of Israel failed to come here to Mizpah in front of the Lord?" It is good that no one from Jabesh Gilead had come. No one from there had gathered together with the others and they counted the people. They found that none of the people of Jabesh Gilead had come to Mizpah. So the community sent 12,000 fighting men to Jabesh Gilead. They directed them to take their swords and kill those living there. They included the women and children. "Here's what you must do," they said. "Kill every male. Also kill every woman who is not a virgin." They found 400 young women in Jabesh Gilead who had never slept with a man. So they took them to the camp at Shiloh and Canaan. Then the whole community sent an offer of peace to the men of Benjamin. So the men who were at the rock of Rimmon. So the men of Benjamin returned at that time. They were given the women of Jabesh Gilead who had been to bed, that there weren't enough women for all of them. The people were very sad because of what had happened to the tribe of Benjamin. The Lord had left a gap in the tribes of Israel. The elders of the community spoke up. They said, "All the women of Benjamin have been wiped out. So how will we find wives for the men who are left? The men of Benjamin who are still alive need to have children." They said, "If they do, a tribe of Israel will be wiped out. But we can't give them our daughters to be their wives. We Israelites have made a promise. We've said, may anyone who gives a wife to a man from Benjamin be under the Lord's curse." Look, a feast is celebrated every year in Shiloh to honor the Lord. Shiloh is north of Bethel. It's east of the road that goes from Bethel to Shechem. It's south of Labona. So they told the men of Benjamin what to do. They said, "Go, hide in the vineyards, and watch. The young woman of Shiloh will come out. They'll join in the dancing. When they do, run out of the vineyards. Each of you grab a young woman from Shiloh to be your wife. Then return to the land of Benjamin. Their fathers or brothers might not be happy with what you are doing. If they aren't, we'll say to them, do us a favor. Help the men of Benjamin. We didn't get wives for them during the vow. You're not guilty of doing anything wrong. After all, you didn't give your daughters to them. Your daughters were stolen from you." So that's what the men of Benjamin did. And while the young women were dancing, each man caught one. He carried her away to be his wife. Then the men returned to their own share of land. They built the towns again. They made their homes in them. At that time, the Israelites also left. They went home to their tribes and families and groups, and each one went to his own share of land. In those days, Israel didn't have a king. The people did anything they thought was right. Ruth, wonderful. There was a time when Israel didn't have kings to rule over them, and they had leaders to help them. This is a story about some things that happened during that time. There wasn't enough food in the land of Judah. So a man went to live for a while in the country of Moab. He was from Bethlehem in Judah. His wife and 2 sons went with him. The man's name was Elimelech. His wife's name was Naomi. The names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were from the tribe of Ephraim. Their home had been in Bethlehem in Judah. They went to Moab and lived there. Naomi's husband, Elimelech, died, so she was left with her 2 sons. They married a woman from Moab. One was named Orpah, the other was named Ruth. Naomi's family lived in Moab for about 10 years. Then Mahlon and Chilion also died. So Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. While Naomi was in Moab, she heard that the Lord had helped his people. So he had begun to provide food for them again. So Naomi and her 2 daughters-in-law prepared to go from Moab back to her home. She left the place where she had been living. Her daughters-in-law went with her. They started out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Both of you go back. Each of you go to your own mother's home. You were kind to your husbands who have died. You have also been kind to me. So may the Lord be just as kind to you. May the Lord help each of you find rest in the home of another husband." Then she kissed them goodbye. They broke down and wept loudly. They said to her, "We'll go back to your people with you." And Naomi said, "Go home, my daughters. Why would you want to come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Go home, my daughters. I'm too old to have another husband. Suppose I thought there was still some hope for me. Suppose I married a man tonight, and later I had sons by him. Would you wait until they grew up? Would you stay single until you could marry them? No, my daughters, my life is more bitter than yours. The Lord's power is turned against me." When they heard that, they broke down and wept again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth held on to her. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replied, "Don't try to make me leave you and go back. Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I'll die. And there my body will be buried. I won't let even death separate you from me. If I do, may the Lord punish me greatly." Naomi realized that Ruth had made up her mind to go with her, so she stopped trying to make her go back. The women continued on their way. At last they arrived in Bethlehem. The whole town was stirred up because of them. The women in the town, "Can this possibly be Naomi?" "Don't call me Naomi," she told them. "Call me Mara. The Mighty One has made my life very bitter. I was full when I went away, but the Lord has brought me back empty. So why are you calling me Naomi? The Lord has made me suffer. The Mighty One has brought trouble on me." So Naomi returned from Moab. Ruth, her daughter-in-law from Moab, came with her. They arrived in Bethlehem just when people were beginning to harvest the barley. Naomi had a relative on her husband's side of the family. The relative's name was Boaz. He was a very important man from the family of Elimelech. Ruth, who was from Moab, spoke to Naomi. Ruth said, "Let me go out to the fields. I'll pick up the grain that has been left. I'll do it behind anyone who is pleased with me." Naomi said to her, "My daughter, go ahead." So Ruth went out to the field and began to pick up grain. She worked behind those cutting and gathering the grain. As it turned out, she was working in a field that belonged to Boaz. He was from the family of Elimelech. Just when Boaz arrived from Bethlehem, he greeted those cutting and gathering the grain. Gathering the grain. He said, "May the Lord be with you, and may the Lord bless you," they replied. Boaz spoke to the man in charge of his workers. He asked, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The man replied, "She's from Moab. She came back from there with Naomi." The young woman said, "Please let me walk behind the workers. Let me pick up the grain that is left." She came into the field. She has kept on working here from morning until now. She took only one short rest in the shade. Boaz said to Ruth, "Dear woman, listen to me. Don't pick up grain in any other field. Don't go anywhere else. Stay here with the women who work for me. Keep your eye on the field where the men are cutting grain. Walk behind the women who are gathering it. Pick up the grain that is left. I've told the men not to bother you. When you're thirsty, go and get a drink. Take water from the jars in the meadow field." When Ruth heard that, she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, "Why are you being so kind to me? In fact, why are you even noticing me? I'm from another country." Boaz replied, "I've been told all about you. I've heard everything you've done for your mother-in-law since your husband died. I know that you left your father and mother. I know that you left your country. You came to live with people you didn't know before. May the Lord reward you for what you've done. May the Lord, the God of Israel, bless you richly. You have come to him to find safety under his care. So I hope you will continue to be kind to me," Ruth said. "You have made me feel safe. You have spoken kindly to me, and I'm not even as important as one of your servants." When it was time to eat, Boaz spoke to Ruth again. "Come over here," she said. "Have some bread. Dip in the wine vinegar." She sat down with the workers. Then Boaz offered her some grain that had been cooked. She ate all she wanted. She even had some left over. Ruth got up to pick up more grain. Then Boaz gave orders to his men. He said, "Let her take some stalks from what the woman had tied up. Don't tell her she can't. Even pull out some stalks for her. Leave them for her to pick up. Don't tell her she shouldn't do." So Ruth picked up grain in the field until evening. Then she separated the barley from the straw. The barley weighed 30 pounds. She carried it back to town. Her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out the food left over from the lunch Boaz had given her. She gave it to Naomi. Her mother-in-law asked her, "Where did you pick up grain today? Where did you work? May the man who noticed you be blessed." Then Ruth told her about the man whose field she had worked in. "The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz. May the Lord bless him," Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. "The Lord is still being kind to those who are living and those who are dead," she continued. "That man is a close relative of ours. He's one of our family protectors." Then Ruth, who was from Moab, said, "He told me more. He even said, 'Stay with my workers until they have finished bringing in all my grain.'" Naomi replied to her daughter-in-law, Ruth. She said, "That will be good for you, my daughter. Go with the woman who work for him. You might be harmed if you go to someone else's field." So Ruth stayed close to the woman who worked for Boaz as she picked up grain. She worked until the time when all the barley and wheat had been harvested. And she lived with her mother-in-law. One day Ruth's mother-in-law Naomi spoke to her. She said, "My daughter, I must find a home for you. It should be a place where you will be provided for. You have been working with a woman who worked for Boaz. He's a relative of ours. Tonight he'll be separating the straw from his barley on the threshing floor. So wash yourself, put on some perfume, and put on your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor. But don't let Boaz know you are there. Wait until he has finished eating and drinking. Notice where he lies down. Then go over and uncover his feet. Lie down there. He'll tell you what to do." "I'll do everything you say," Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor. She did everything her mother-in-law had told her to do. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking, he was in a good mood. He went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Then Ruth approached quietly. She uncovered his feet and lay down there. In the middle of the night, something surprised Boaz and woke him up. He turned to find a woman lying there at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm Ruth," she said. "You are my family protector, so take good care of me by making me your wife." Dear woman, may the Lord bless you, he replied. You are showing even more kindness than you did earlier. You didn't run after the young men, whether they were rich or poor. Dear woman, don't be afraid. All the people of my town know that you are an excellent woman. It is true that I'm a relative of yours, that there's a family protector who is most closely related to you than I am. So stay here for the night. In the morning, if he wants to help you, good. Let him do it. Let him help you. But if he doesn't want to, then I'll do it. You can be sure that the Lord lives, and you can be just as sure that I'll help you. Lie down here until morning. So she stayed at his feet until morning, but she got up before anyone could be recognized. Boaz thought, no one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor. He said to her, bring me the coat you have around you. Hold it out. So she did. He poured more than 50 pounds of barley into it and helped her pick it up. Then he went back to town. Ruth came back to her mother-in-law. Naomi asked, how did it go, my daughter? Then Ruth told her everything Boaz had done for her. He said, he gave me all this barley. He said, don't go back to your mother-in-law with your hands empty. Naomi said, my daughter, sit down until you find out what happens. The man won't rest until he settles the whole matter today. Boaz went up to the town gate and sat down there. Right then, the family protector he had talked about came there. By. Then Boaz said, come over here, my friend. Sit down. So the man went over and sat down. Boaz brought 10 of the elders of the town together. He said, sit down here. So they did. Then he spoke to the family protector. He said, Naomi has come back from Moab. He's selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention. I suggest that you buy the land. While those sitting here and the elders of my people are looking as witnesses. But if you are willing to buy it back, do it. But if you aren't, tell me. Then I'll know. No one has the right to buy it back except you, and I'm next in line. I'll buy it, he said. Then Boaz said, when you buy the property from Naomi, you must also marry Ruth. She's from Moab and is the dead man's widow. So you must marry her. That's because his property must continue to belong to his family. And the family protector heard that. He said, then I can't buy the land. If I did, I might put my own property in danger. So you buy it. I can't do it. In early times in Israel, there was a certain practice. It was used when family land was brought back and changed owners. A practice made the sale final. One person would take a sandal off and give it to the other. That was how people in Israel showed that a business matter had been settled. So the family protector said to Boaz, buy it yourself. And he took a sandal off. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people, today you are witnesses. You have seen that I have bought land from Naomi, and you have brought all the property that had belonged to Elimelech, Kilian, and Mahlon. I have also taken Ruth, who is from Moab, to become my wife. She is Mahlon's widow. I have decided to marry her so that the dead man's name will stay with his property. Now his name won't disappear from his family land or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses. Then the elders and all the people at the gate said, we are witnesses. The woman is coming into your home. May the Lord make her like Rachel and Leah. Together they build up the family of Israel. May you be an important person in Ephrathah. May you be famous in Bethlehem. The Lord will give you children through this young one. May your family be like the family of Perez. He was the son Tamar had by Judah. So Boaz married Ruth. Then he slept with her. The Lord blessed her so that she became pregnant. And she had a son. The Lord said to Naomi, the woman said to Naomi, we praise the Lord. Today he has provided a family protector for you. May this child become famous all over Israel. He will make your life new again. He will take care of you when you are old. He is the son of your very own daughter-in-law. She loves you. She is better to you than 7 sons. Then Naomi took the child in her arms and took care of him. The woman living there said, Naomi has a son. They named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of David. He is the family line of Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron was the father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the son of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. And Jesse was the father of David. Proverbs 30. These sayings are the words of Agur, son of Jacob. These sayings came from God. This man said to Ithiel, I am weary, God, but I can still have success. Surely I am only a dumb animal and not a man. I don't understand as other men do. I haven't learned wisdom, and I don't know the things the Holy One knows. Who has gone up to heaven and come down? Whose hands have gathered up the wind? Who has rocked up the waters in the coast? Who has set in place all the boundaries of the earth? What is his name? What is this son's name? Surely you know. Every word of God is perfect. He is like a shield to those who trust in him. He keeps them safe. Don't add to his words. If you do, he will correct you. He will prove that you are a liar. Lord, I ask you for two things. Don't refuse me before I die. Keep lies far away from me. Don't make me either poor or rich, but give me only the bread I need each day. If you don't, I might have too much. Then I might say I don't know you. I might say, who is you? Or I might become poor and steal. Then I will bring shame to the name of my God. Don't tell lies about a servant when you talk to their master. If you do, they will curse you, and you will pay for your lies. Some people curse their fathers, and others don't bless their mothers. Some appear in their own nest, but their days since have been restored. So eyes that are very proud. They look down on others. Some people have teeth like swords. Their teeth and their jaws are as sharp as knives. They are ready to eat up the poor people of the earth. They are ready to eat up those who are the most needy. It leaches two doors. They cry, give, give. Three things that never satisfy. Four things never say enough. The first is grave. The second is a woman who can't have a baby. The third is land, which never gets enough water. And the fourth is fire, which never says enough. One person makes fun of their father. Another doesn't honor their mother when she is old. The ravens of the valley will peck out their rice. Then the vultures will eat. Three things are too amazing for me. There are four things I don't understand. The first is the way of an eagle in the sky. The second is the way of a snake on a rock. The third is the way of a ship on the ocean. And the fourth is the way of a man with a young one. This is the way of a woman who commits adultery. She eats and wipes her mouth. Then she says, I haven't done anything wrong. And the three things the earth shakes. And the four things it can't stand up. The first is a servant who becomes a king. The second is a foolish and ungodly person who gets plenty to eat. The third is a mean woman who gets married. And the fourth is a servant who takes the place of the woman she works for. All things on earth are small, but they are very wise. The first are lions, which aren't very strong, but they store up their food in the summer. The second are rock badgers, which aren't very powerful, but they make their home among the rocks. The third are locusts, which don't have kin, but they all much water and rest. And the fourth are lizards, which your hand can touch, but you'll find them in kings' palaces. Three things walk as if they were kings. Four things move as kings do. The first is a lion, which is mighty among the animals, and it doesn't back away from anything. The second is a rooster, which walks proudly. The third is billy goat. And the fourth is a king, who is secure against any who might oppose. Do you do foolish things? Do you think you are better than others? Do you plan evil? If you do, put your hand over your mouth and stop talking. If you churn cream, you will produce butter. If you twist the nose, you will produce blood. And if you stir up anger, you will produce fire. Psalm 63. God, you are my God. I seek you with all my heart. With all my strength I thirst for you. In this dry desert, where there isn't any water. I have seen you in the sacred. There I have seen your power and your glory. Your love is better than life. So I'll bring glory to you with my lips. I'll praise you as long as I live. I'll call on your name when I lift up my hands in prayer. I'll be satisfied as if I had eaten the best food there is. I'll sing praise to you with my mouth. As I lie on the bed, I remember you. I think of you all night long. Because you have helped me, I sing in the shadow of your wings. I hold on to you tightly. Your powerful right hand takes good care of me. Those who want to kill me will be destroyed. They will go down into the grave. They will be killed by swords. They will become food for wild dogs. The king will be filled with joy because of what God has done. All those who make promises in God's name will be able to pray, as the mouth of lies will be shut. Now that's done, I shall now do the Lord's Prayer, placed by hands. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.